Welcome everyone. Today is Monday, 18th of September. Waiting on Euro US for now to either take the Asian highs or lows. Meanwhile, why don't we just go to the higher time frames and have a look as to what we anticipate for the day. So here we have a big drop there on Thursday, formed a bottom, took out this liquidity here which was formed in June, and could be going higher now. Do have this daily fair value gap. Let's mark that out. Guest coming on today on this live stream. That'll be fun. Just give me a second. Okay, we'll have PV on shortly. She trades NAS. It'll be nice to chat to her this morning while we wait for Euro US to do its thing. We have an old H1 FVG, the daily again, 4 hours, a lot of imbalance up there, a lot of liquidity up there. So I would anticipate this to start moving up, to be honest. Let's have a quick look at Dixie, see what's happening there. It's come to a supply zone here, really. Let's see whether it wants to break that through, or is it going to get rejected from there. So the dollar index is at an interesting point there. Go on to the 4-hour chart, 4-hour FVG. Let's take the daily first before we start marking other things. 1-hour FVG, so obviously a big gap there when that price action just stumbled at that point. And the 15-minute chart, it's a Japanese bank holiday, I believe. A whole lot of waiting at the moment. Ooh, there you go. That's taking out the Asia highs. It should take that out. Maybe take the New York PM highs out as well. Hey PV, can you hear me?
Hi, I can hear you. Can you hear
I think
me?
I can. I think you're on the stream. You are on the stream, I believe. Maybe some
Perfect.
viewer can help us out here and, and let us know if this is working fine or not. I think it should be working fine. New to all this YouTube streaming and getting guests on. How's your morning been so far?
My morning has been not great.
Okay.
I took two losses on Nasdaq.
Okay.
I think the PA and due to Japan's public holiday.
Yeah. 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 Price action has been very choppy. The candles look very choppy this morning anyway. I think that was when, as you pointed out, because of the bank holiday in Japan. But I think with Frankfurt opening up now, as you see, the candles are forming on EU anyway.
Yeah, I think now I hope you get a good entry.
Yeah, let's hope so. It's been tough this month so far, end of August, start of September. But yeah, hoping that we can end September on a good note.
That's all we hope for.
Yeah, and being a trader, we need to be comfortable with our losses. Nothing's perfect. There's no bulletproof strategy out there. And that's why backtesting is so important. So we know that when we do go through a losing streak, it's just temporary, and we need to have confidence in what we're doing.
Definitely. I mean, I took two losses already, but I followed my entry, I followed my trading plan, and that's all you can do.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. You're right, and those kinds of losses are acceptable. It's when we make errors ourselves, get into FOMO or do something which goes against our rules, and we take a loss. That's when it starts hurting.
So, if you were to take a loss, do you do another entry, or what's your max loss trade and your profit?
So I risk 1% on the account, and I do a maximum of 2 trades in the session that I'm trading. So if I win the first, and that's the end of the session for me. That's the end of the day for me, as a matter of fact. If I lose the first, I will go in for a second entry. If that's a winner, great. I make up the losses from the first. And if I lose, then that's 2 losses for the day, and that's me done then.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly the same as me. So it doesn't matter how long it takes. I know you can do two losses together, or if you wait for another entry point.
Yeah.
If it's done in, I did mine quite relatively together. I saw another entry point, and it looks pretty good for me, so I went in again. Unfortunately, literally about 10 minutes ago, the candles and PA decided to go against me.
Right.
So yeah, that's me done now.
Fair enough. So that's an early morning for you. You're done, and yeah, you can take the rest of the day off, really.
Yeah, I mean, that's that. Yeah, I'll be back tomorrow to look again. I
Yeah.
guess the only thing I want to spend some time this day doing is looking into how to analyze the daily candle. I'm not sure
Okay.
if you can give any tips on that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think there are a couple of good sources out there. The two of the ways I do it is, one is if you follow a YouTuber called T Trades, in his
Mhm.
video Daily Bias, he explains it really well. So If you can see my screen, we had a big bearish day here. According to him, he would like to see the break of this low, which it touches, nearly touches, and then it comes back up and ends up bullish. So
Mhm.
it hasn't closed below this daily candle. So that his bias for the next day would be bullish, which is today. So he would be expecting price to go and touch this daily FVG at least. So the bias for today would be bullish for now. It doesn't mean we are saying the trend is bullish. It just means that the daily bias for price action is bullish. It's based on the power of three by ICT. So I would like to see the price actually go up there, which works for my trade because I would be looking, since it's taken out Asia high, I'd be looking for price to go higher. Maybe reach the daily FVG if possible, but I would be looking to short today at some stage. So yeah,
Sure.
I would really like this price to follow the daily bias and go higher, and then after that take a short. The other way to do it is if you break down the daily, if you break down individual days and weeks, um, you can see what the bias is very clearly if you look at what is being broken, the daily lows or the daily highs. So this is on gold as an example. That's a daily low formed. The next day, Tuesday, 5th of September, it takes that low out, and then it takes that low out again. So you know the daily is bearish. And
Okay.
if you can follow this, this doesn't on Thursday, this doesn't take out the high. On Friday, it just about takes the high out, but it's still pretty choppy. And then if you come back to the previous week, it starts taking out the lows again. And if you look at on a weekly basis, these blue dividers are weekly. You can see that it's taken out the previous week low here. So I would say generally at this point in time, we're having a kind of a bearish bias on gold. There's two ways of doing it, either looking at the daily and the weekly, or if you're just looking at the daily candles, you can just see the previous candle and from there judge where price action, where the algos will want to drive the price, and either take out liquidity or go and fill an imbalance.
Mm-hmm.
Also on
Sure.
the daily, if you see there's a candle in May, the liquidity was taken there. That was external liquidity. And I would now be expecting the algos to move the price to some sort of an imbalance. And that daily FVG is very tempting to go and tap into that daily FVG. And then maybe the price can either go down or go up. As we say, we don't predict, we just react to what's happening on the chart and what we see.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
And of course, there's a lot of liquidity lying around here as well, formed in March. Interesting times for Euro US. FOMC is this week, so need to be extremely careful with that. Um, the experts are mixed on what's going to happen. Are they going to keep the interest rate steady, or are they going to raise them? So interesting times.
Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of speculation for this week, and I can't say that it's been consistent on views.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but I agree with you. All we can do is react, and as long as you follow your trading plan, um,
yeah.
you're pretty safe.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. So as since you trade NAS early in what late Asia session, early London session, how do you
Mhm.
find the price action compared to when New York opens?
I find it a bit more smoother, apart from today.
Okay, yeah,
It
sure.
tends to be a good entry, and you can tend to hold for 3R and more.
Okay.
Um, it takes, as soon as you get a good entry point, which for me tends to be when the moving averages cross, and that's when I know that it's a good entry point for me, and that's the way that it's going to go. And that's why I'm quite interested with the daily candle, because if it is bullish or bearish and you get a good entry point on the 1 minute, you can hold for longer. I
Yeah,
find trading NAS on the New York session, it's very choppy, even though there's a lot more volume, you can
yeah,
just get wicked out so quickly. where it's actually more stressful, especially on the 1 minute time frame. And I'm so used to the 1 minute time frame that I just don't feel comfortable changing it at this point. I
Sure,
know
sure.
my strategy works. I just have to keep following it, and I know it will be okay. What one day of losses doesn't, mean that you change your strategy. It
Oh,
just means
absolutely not. Yeah, yeah.
you just have to come back tomorrow better than today.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I think that's where new traders kind of get taken out because they try and follow a strategy, and if it goes through a downturn, if you get a few losses, they get shaky, and they strategy hop. And I think that's one of the biggest mistakes that new traders make. They really need to be confident in their strategy. They need to backtest. They have confidence and believe that a few losses is not going to really do much. I think we've all been part of that. I mean, I used to do strategy hopping a lot as
Yeah.
well, and ever since I've just stuck to one and stayed consistent with it. It's worked out really well. I trade less. I'm more confident, and it's a lot less work, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree. And once you know your strategy of by heart, you just kind of you just see it clearly where you need to enter, where you need to exit. You're not going to have perfect days, and I mean, you can't predict the market. You can't control the market, so you need to control everything else.
Yeah.
So do you only do Euro USD, or do you dabble in other pairs, or is this your primary focus, and if so, why?
So I used to trade all the major forex pairs and minor pairs as well, one stage, and gold and commodities and indices. With the strategy I used at that time. I was fairly successful with it, but I found myself sitting in front of the screens a lot. It was just constant. And it was a lot of hard work. It helped me in the way that, I because I was spending so much time in front of the screens, I kind of related to price action a lot better and through experience. But I used to hear all these gurus say, you don't need to trade that much, you don't need to trade so many things, etc. And at that point in time, I didn't really realize until I did kind of just focus on one pair. Um, I didn't want to sit in front of the screen all day long, and that's where ICT's concept of time and price really kind of resonated with me. And if you see all the best traders, they don't do more than one or two pairs, or just take one index or something like that. And once I kind of started transforming to that, I found that it really does work. There's so many opportunities just on one pair itself that you really don't need to be trading, so many pairs. One pair will give you enough opportunities. And if you know that one pair inside out, you're a better trader for it as opposed to try and do too many things. So now I'm just restricting myself to the London morning session with one pair, and yeah, I'm really happy. It just gives me a lot of time freedom, which is one of the things that traders are aiming for. I mean, yeah, earning money is great, but at the same time, you get so much time freedom, which you don't with other jobs. And if I'm sitting in front of the screen, I'm kind of defeating half the purpose of becoming a trader. So yeah, that's why I just stick to Euro USD now.
Yeah, that makes sense. You don't want trading to become a 9 to 5 job, which is
No,
what you've tried to escape from.
absolutely, absolutely. It can be done, but it takes its toll as well. I mean, if you're constantly sitting in front of the screens and looking at so many pairs, and then it just becomes a bit too much, honestly.
Hmm.
And you don't need it, and you don't need it. Um, and also, over time, I've realized that your capital base is important. So if you have 500K in funded accounts, a 3% to 4% a month is enough. You're really not looking to make those massive RRs or get those massive gains. You just don't need to do that.
No, I agree. It's a good risk management, but also profit approach.
Yeah, yeah,
It gives you a good work-life balance.
absolutely, absolutely, it does. Yeah, yeah. get to spend more time with the family, maybe do something constructive, maybe, spend more time for things, with things that interest you. It could be, it could be anything, personal interests like golf or something, or, maybe do some charity, or maybe, just something apart from this, because trading really is quite lucrative, without having to
Sure.
sit in front of the screens all day. And once you kind of achieve that, you're looking to do other things as well.
Very true. So, what do you do outside of trading?
So for me, it's still fairly new. I mean, until 4 months ago, I was still trading all the pairs and doing all of that. So it's just recently over the summer that I've started focusing on one pair, and still spend a lot of time in front of the screens just to learn that one pair. But
Mm,
now that I do have the time, yeah, after 9 in the morning, I'm done. I'm focusing on some other businesses. I started this YouTube channel so that, just so that I can kind of relieve the newer traders, or aspiring traders rather, from the pain that I went through. The advice, there's plenty of advice out there, but a lot of it could be, on a selfish note, where people are trying to make money off you, selling courses, this and that. I'm not bashing all the courses. There's some really good ones out there. But I thought it would be, now that I have time on my hands, why not educate traders who want to be, and they can come on, they can ask questions and see what it is to be a real trader. You see a lot of this on Twitter and everywhere else, where people are making 12 hours and showing off their
yeah,
biceps and their Lambos, and it's a real mess. And honestly, trading is not that. Trading is, it actually makes you humble through the whole experience of learning to become a trader.
yeah,
And if I can pass that knowledge on to somebody, it's a massive market. It's no loss for me, but if someone gains from it, why not?
very true. I find seeing those posts on Twitter quite annoying.
Yeah, yeah,
Only because I know it's not the real way of how trading is, and exactly like you said, it makes you humble because
yeah,
it is a journey, um, and you also just realize that you reflect a lot more, and I think that's what trading is, that you tend to reflect on your emotions, your journey.
yeah, absolutely. And we have viewer Travesty. He says, trading is all about freeing up your time to pursue your real passions in life. And that is spot on. That is so true.
That is very true.
So, what do you do, PV, after your trading every morning?
um I tend to go to the gym after I've had breakfast because I wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning to trade my time and my
Yeah, yeah,
strategy. Um, and then, yeah, I'll go to the gym, I'll go for a walk depending on the weather. British weather is just as inconsistent as the market.
yeah,
um,
absolutely.
so yeah, that's me right now, and I have also started my YouTube channel.
Oh, very nice.
So if I've traded, good or bad, I'll still post it just as a
Yeah,
recap of um, of the day. And yeah, just like you, I would rather just show the real daily life of a trader, which isn't as fun or flashy.
or
Um,
glamorous as they make it out to be.
yeah, exactly. Like you are going to have losses, and I would rather just be honest about that because it's part of trading. Not every day
Yeah,
do I
yeah,
win, not every day do I also expect to. And I just think there's not really much of a platform out there where honesty is provided. So
yeah,
it's nice to connect to people that are being open and honest about their trading day.
yeah, yeah. So, do you use ICT concepts as well, or do you follow something else?
So I would say that it started through ICT concepts, but I've kind of made it into my own. I've found a strategy that works for me, but through
Yeah,
the ICT concepts. I can't follow everything, and I don't even want to anymore. trying
sure.
to learn so many Trying to learn so many concepts is actually mind-boggling, and it would make me more confused. So it's
Yeah,
kind of a hybrid of what a friend showed me, but also through ICT concepts, and that seems to be working. It resonates with me very well. I don't have any doubts that I will, at some point, definitely be very profitable from it.
yeah.
Um, but I can't say I follow a specific ICT concept or strategy.
Okay.
I do think you have to make it your own.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, there's so much that he's taught you can't use all of it. Even using 1% of it, which suits you. And I think that's important that should suit you and your personality, that style of trading. And you just take one of his concepts and you make it your own.
I find that ICT, especially lately, and being on Twitter, which is relatively new for me, people are making ICT a lot more complex.
Yeah,
And if you try to learn everything, either you're going to have analysis paralysis, or
yeah,
you will just keep learning new things and seeing what works, and then in the end nothing will work.
yeah, yeah. Makes sense. Absolutely makes sense.
What do
I
you
mean,
do? Are you a
with
ICT
ICTs,
SMC?
yeah, I've done a lot. So I started with stocks and then went into options and then, looked at EMAs. I've been through a lot and through a lot of strategies, and mine is kind of a mix of everything. But I think the basis of my strategy is ICT, which is liquidity purge and revert, which is essential to my strategy. So it forms a
Hmm.
basis where I need to see price go and take out some sort of liquidity, and then from there on take my trade. So yeah, it does form the basis of my trade for sure. My entry model is very different from what ICT preaches. It's not his optimal price entry or something like that.
Yeah.
I just kind of carved it into my own. But yeah, the basis of my strategy does work with ICT for sure. Yeah. And Euro US is going back down, so I'm far from my entry at this stage. And this is what real trading is like. I'm waiting for my setup. I'm not having FOMO.
Hmm.
I'm waiting for the price to do something which I'm looking for it to do. And when it does it, I'll enter. And if it doesn't do it for my entire session, then I don't have a trade for today. Which is what happened last Thursday. Thursdays are usually my best days, and I just didn't get an entry. So that was a no trade day for me.
Do you feel FOMO if you don't get an entry?
No, not really. Not really. I think again it comes back to back testing. I've done so much of it now that I know there'll be certain trades, certain days I'm not going to get a trade, and that's fine because if you as trading as we say in trading, you don't one trade doesn't make or break you. It's a series of trades. So once you complete the month and you look back, on average, I've taken something like 12 to 16 trades max. So I know that most of the days I might not even get a trade, and that's fine by me. I'm happy to make my on average 11 to 12% a month with those
Hmm.
many trades, and it's just so much easier that way.
So what do you aim for? Are you a 1 to 2 ratio?
So my strategy tells me that 1 to 3 is very good. I can achieve it a lot of the times, but I keep it conservative at 1 to 2. The reason being is because since I'm working with prop firms, they do have daily drawdown limits. And if I've had if I've had a couple of bad weeks, I don't want that aiming 1 to 3 get me that extra loss or two, which would then take the account away from me. With 1 to 2, I know that I'm very safe, and it would be hard for me to lose an account with 1 to 2. If I go 1 to 3, maybe I need to lower risk, Or if, I'm already positive in the account, and I've taken out some money for the month, yeah, maybe I'd go for 1 to 3. But to
Mhm.
start off, 1 to 2 is ideal for me. And with that, you only need a 40% win rate, and mine is around 60%. So, again, it's not to be greedy. The market is giving me something, I'm happy with it, can roll with it. I've got a couple of other strategies as well, which at the moment I'm not doing anything with. I'm
Mhm.
traveling at the moment as well, so once I'm back, maybe I'll focus on that. But then again, on one account, I will not be mixing up my strategies. I'll only be doing one strategy per account. So yeah, have to be very, very strict. No fear, no greed. Be strict and just follow your plan to a T. It's when we deviate from our plans, when we let emotions run through, that we make mistakes. The market is out there to get you if you're making mistakes.
Very true. Especially if you react emotionally, then yeah,
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
you will
Your revenge
100%.
trade, or
Yeah.
you chasing price, or the typical mistakes that novice traders make. And I say novice traders because I used to do that all the time. And at a certain point, it's painful enough for you to realize that we don't need to do that anymore.
Yeah, I think that was the hardest lesson for me was when I looked back at my journal and sometimes I cut my trade early or I didn't let it like I closed it because I saw it go into a bit of drawdown and then it
Yeah,
hit my take profit and I just realized I'm actually being my own enemy at this point.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it takes years and years of practice to learn price action and just purely trade price action. But I think for the retail trader, I would strongly recommend to develop some sort of a mechanical strategy, which you just follow a set of rules, you back test it, and you know that they work, and just stick
Mm,
to that. Um, Otherwise, it is. I mean, you can see someone like ICT can probably do that, and he has 30 years of experience reading price. Uh, but it takes a lot of time and effort to do that. So for newer traders, find something mechanical, make sure it suits your personality, and just stick to that. Just stick to that one thing, and that's it.
Would you would you teach people like new traders or would you be up for teaching a few people if they were interested?
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I'm at a stage in my trading where, as you know, I'm done by 9 a.m. London time, and then I've got nothing to do all day.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, if people are looking for help, absolutely, for sure, why not? I'm actually thinking of opening up half an hour spots every day, maybe 2 or 3 spots, and let people just book them for free. And we can just have a chat about where they are in their journey, what are they looking for, and I think more psychological than strategy based, to be honest, because there's just so many strategies out there. You need to find one that suits your personality. I might be trading ICD, someone else might be doing supply and demand, the third might be doing EMAs. So, it needs to suit your personality, the time frame that you're trading. But 90% of this is psychological. And I think that's the biggest barrier to entry a new trader faces.
Yeah.
Um, Money is not the issue with prop firms around. So, you can buy $5,000 or $2,500 account for $50, and you can start making money.
Hmm.
Strategies are plenty out there. You just open up YouTube and see so many of them. But I think psychology is probably the most important thing that new traders don't focus on.
That's true. And I guess just like we've gone through an emotional journey,
Yeah,
every trader will. I just don't think they realize how much that has more of an impact than any strategy. I always say every single strategy works.
yeah,
Everything works at some point in the week, at some point in the day, or even the month.
yeah.
So it's not a strategy, it's literally your mindset and overcoming your own barriers and your own psychological blocks.
Yes. Yeah, I absolutely agree. I mean, we were together in the trading floor group, and there were
Mm-hmm.
lots of strategies there, and we saw in strategy wars that people were winning with all the strategies. So
Mm.
yeah, I mean, strategy probably forms the smallest part of a trader's arsenal. It's you have to learn how to go through the emotions while being in a trade. It's easy to put a 1 to 10 RR on a chart, but when you're actually sitting with money on a trade while it's happening live, yeah, at 1.5 hour, you're thinking, you know what, I'm making money. Especially if you're looking at the dollar value, which is another mistake traders make. They need to follow that plan.
Yeah.
Sometimes the dollar value will make them come out of the trade early, take early profits, and just to see the trade run, or maybe they'll see a small loss and they're afraid and they'll close the trade, or they'll just start moving the stop loss and they'll make a bigger loss than anticipated. So it's that emotional journey which a trader really needs to go through, and it's the hardest bit. It really is the hardest bit.
What do you do when you enter a trade? And what I mean is, do you enter a trade and walk away from the screens, or are you comfortable and happy to watch?
So earlier, I used to put on a trade with my fixed stop loss and take profit. And
Mm-hmm.
my emotions would run high or low depending on what the price is doing, and I would
Mm-hmm.
either cut it short or novice mistakes. And I think over time I realized that since my strategy is mechanical and my back testing tells me that I'm going to reach 2R or this is going to happen, I really need to trust in it. Even then, it was very difficult. So for a period, I used to put a trade on and then close my screens. And when the results started presenting themselves, that's when I became comfortable again to put on a trade and then watch the screen and not be emotional about it. It's a very difficult thing to do. It's a difficult process, but once you go through it, I think the confidence it gives you is amazing.
I agree. So, looking at your chart, it looks quite
Yeah.
similar to what Naz is doing. Do you think
Okay.
there's a correlation between those two?
Well, let's have a look at dollar very quickly. This is on the daily. Let's go on the 1 hour chart and see what's happening here. Dollar's just chopping around, to be honest, at the moment. We've seen it come a bit low and go up higher. Yeah, I'm not too sure, to be honest. I think it's let's have a look at Nas. Let's see what Nas is doing. Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. You can see it making a few peaks. It doesn't take liquidity out up here, but it does tank after that, following a similar pattern. So I'm assuming at this stage it is the dollar index which is making them trade the same way. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If it, like this, if you can see, this is my watch list. This used to be, let's see, that's what my watch list used to be like before. That's what I used to trade before. And
Sure.
from that, I've I've
Well,
cut down to just Euro USD, and that's it. So
a
I think
lot
I think over
less.
time a trader matures. Yeah.
So, if you started getting better at Euro USD, would
Yeah.
you at some point think you want to add another pair?
Yeah. So at the moment, I just trade Euro USD in the London session.
Mm-hmm.
I know that the strategy works really well in the New York AM session as well. Um, I'm just at such a comfortable, and I think I might be a bit complacent now and a bit lazy that I'm not trading more sessions. But I know this works for the New York session. There is another one I know on the SPX, which works really well for New York. And I have another strategy for gold, which works really well for the London kill zone. So I have these three or four strategies because I think just sticking to one at certain times in the market, it might not work, and you need an alternative. And that is where I think it helps if you have different accounts and you're trading a strategy per account. So yeah, I mean, I would like to have one forex, which is Euro US that I'm doing, gold as a commodity, and then either SPX or Nasdaq as my third for in for an index. So that way, I've got three different kind of avenues that I can trade with three different strategies. So over a period of time, if I see that, maybe I'm not making for whatever reason on Forex right now, maybe I can switch to gold or SPX. So as a backup, yeah, I do have, but I don't think I'll be trading anything more than that, to be honest. Because if I'm happy making money on Euro US, I'm not going to be greedy and say, what if I use the same strategy on different pairs and make even more money? Nah, that's okay. I'm happy.
I agree. You might as well make it work for you.
Yeah, absolutely. PV, what's your YouTube channel name? I'll try and put this up on the screen if I can.
So it is PV
Yeah.
underscore banks.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, we have PV Banks in the house. Okay, we have travesty. I definitely feel lazy to only trading London Open. Making only 3 to 6 trades per week feels illegal. Yeah, he's absolutely right. And I think there's so many stages that a trader goes through. And he's made a really good point here because I have been running my own businesses all my life, and I've worked very, very long hours. And that is why when I was trading 5 or 6 months ago, all these pairs, I felt like I was doing something fruitful. And when I
Mm-hmm.
decided to finally cut down to one pair, and I found myself with so much time on my hands, it almost felt like I'm not justifying what I'm doing in life, and I should be doing more. And then you kind of reflect on it and say, why did I take up trading in the first place? Because I can make good money and I can have time off. And with that time off, I can do other things. And that switch again is another psychological point that a person has to contend with. And so Travesty really does make a good point that it feels illegal, and it literally is because if you're trading 2 hours a day on 4 days a week, and you end up making five figures, it does feel like wow, we used to work jobs or do businesses and work 24 hours a day and just make this much over a 4 month period, and now we're doing it in 1 month. So yeah, it definitely does feel illegal. Yeah, you're right.
Especially, yeah, you're right. After being so busy, and then, especially like the session I do, same as you,
Yeah,
sometimes I have finished trading before most people are awake.
yeah, yeah.
And it's a good feeling, but it also is so difficult to get used to that mindset.
It really is, isn't it? Yeah, yeah. I mean, just reflect on your own trading journey, where you started, what you thought trading was all about, and all
Mm-hmm.
the different psychological barriers that you had to go through as you progressed as a trader. And you just kept finding new ones. And you thought, I've made it now and I've done this. And then there's something else that you have to go through. And I think that's a learning experience that a trader continues to go through. And it's good because it keeps you on your toes as opposed to become complacent and think I've done it. Because I think the minute you think you've done it, the market's out there to get you again.
Yeah. As soon that is very true. As soon as you think you've done it, you know you're not. Something it just it gives you a good quick lesson that you've
It
not done
does,
it.
absolutely. I mean, the market can be your best friend. I mean, the market sometimes literally is showing you what is happening. And as
Hmm.
human beings, we use our emotions to do exactly the opposite. And it's you just learn the hard way that 90% of the traders fail because we are wired a certain way. And to become a successful trader, you really need to do the opposite and tap into that 10% that people are not doing.
Yeah, very
And I
true.
think Tom Hugard's book, Best Loser Wins, was a real eye-opener for me psychologically. It really addresses the issues of fear and greed really well. And I think
Hmm.
it's a must-read for any trader for sure.
Do you read a lot of self-help books?
Not really. I have read Trading in the Zone, Best Loser Wins, and a couple of other books.
Hmm.
I'm a person who learns more from experiences, life experiences, and that's why I'm not afraid of making mistakes or failing because you just learn that much quicker. I think the trading is you against you, and you constantly need to improve yourself as a person, in your mindset, and little bits. You don't need to transform yourself overnight. That's not going to happen. But even if you aim for getting better 1% every week or 1% every month, in time you'll see the difference, and that only happens once you make mistakes. I don't know any trader who hasn't blown up an account. I don't know
Hmm.
any trader who hasn't, gone into a trade chasing price. I don't know any trader who hasn't felt FOMO before. I don't know any trader who's, when in a loss, hasn't increased their stop loss. So these are all mistakes that everyone has to make. And no book is going to teach you that, no matter how much you read it, until you experience it yourself.
Yeah, you're right. How many accounts have you blown?
Ooh, good question. I've definitely blown over 10 accounts for sure. Um,
Hmm.
I would say for different reasons. Initially, I was just eager to get prop firm accounts. And then I realized that prop firms have different rules. So one might apply to one prop firm, but not the other. So, somebody has different daily drawdowns. Somebody has RTPs, which are different. So, for example, I trade with Finitive, and they have one where you only allowed to place a trade. Your biggest trade can only be half of your daily drawdown. So, it just things like that. I got caught up in technicalities. And I think just knowing my nature, if I had a losing streak and I was 4 or 5% in drawdown, I really didn't have the patience to put on small risk and try and rescue that account. I think that would be the clever and the wise thing to do. But I just didn't have that patience. So I would actually do the opposite. Instead of risking 1%, I'd go risk 2.5% to make that account work, or just blow that account up and start fresh. Um, so that was one of the reasons why I blew up a few accounts as well, because I just could not do that half a percent or 0.25% to bring the account back up. And in a way, it was fine for me. And I'm not saying this applies to everyone. It was fine for me because at any given time, I did have a funded account as well. So I was making money on that and buying these challenges and experimenting and blowing them up. So I had that cushion. Not everybody has that cushion, especially when they're first starting out and first going on with prop firms. So yeah, I think risk management is key and very, very important for that.
Yeah, I agree.
So would you like consider maybe doing anything apart from NAS, or try out from different sessions, or are you just happy where you are right now?
I'm happy where I am right now. Um, I would maybe consider it, but I haven't given much thought. As much as it might be a nice idea, I think I really just want to streamline my focus until I am fully funded,
Okay.
and and enjoying my one session per day, just to kind of enjoy reaping my rewards.
Yeah, yeah,
Only because the trading journey is stressful,
it
um,
is. Yeah,
and it is an
yeah,
emotional roller coaster, which I've been going through for a few months. Only
yeah.
now I feel I have um, kind of got a good equilibrium, but
Mm-hmm.
I think I just want to enjoy that at the moment before I give myself another challenge. I
Yeah,
do believe you need to keep challenging yourself and growing, but
yeah,
I think at the moment my headspace is more of perfecting what I already have, seeing the results, and also taking some time to enjoy the results before going on to the next thing.
sure. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a great feeling, right? When you've gone through all these struggles and you finally found a sweet spot where you're content, things are working for you, and I think it's important for a trader just to take that time and enjoy it and enjoy the successes before trying out something new or doing something. Is just go through that and enjoy and feel that you've achieved something.
Yeah, and I guess also, like you mentioned, coming from a busy background, um, if you are consistently busy, it's fine, but trading is like no other job, because in other jobs you're really not you versus you. You're really
Yeah,
not going against your own you're literally go no other job can actually compare to trading. That's how I feel, because at some point you can, put aside your feelings at a job, or you get some downtime. With trading you don't, because especially in the beginning, I mean, even now, don't get me wrong, I do sometimes feel a bit like, oh, it would have been nice to have got profit today. Or if you've had a week of, a losing streak, it can get to you, and you
yeah,
won't experience that in other jobs, because there's nothing like it. Like, whether you're losing or you're winning, either it is down to you and your entry, or it's just tough luck and you have to really take it on the chin.
yeah,
So I think, yeah, taking time to just enjoy being in a good place is, and to be emotionally well as well. It's I think it is underrated, because it can be quite exhausting. Trading can be
sure.
exhausting because you can
Oh
still
yeah,
wake up thinking, okay, yesterday I got a loss, and
yeah,
today I really want to, smash my profit, or get back to break even, or whatever your daily goal might be.
yeah.
Um, and you will still experience that regardless of how good your results are. We are
Oh,
human at the
absolutely.
end of the day.
Ah, absolutely. I mean, it's a constant emotional struggle. No matter how comfortable you are taking that loss, if you get a series of them, being human beings, you really want to see a winner and once again validate your strategy that no, you're on the right track. It can
Mhm.
definitely mess up with your emotional stability for sure. So you can never conquer your emotions. You can just become more comfortable with them. Uh, but yeah, it is trading. As I said, trading is psychological, so it does start messing around with your psyche for sure.
Yeah, and I do think like it can become, like I've said, I think I have sometimes felt burnt out. I have felt exhausted, and it's more an emotional exhaustion. It's not because of waking up early, and it's not because um of anything physical, but
Yeah.
emotionally and mentally, it can drain you. So you have to really take care of mindset. But no other job compares to trading. And I
No.
mean, I've worked in law enforcement, which was a high stressful environment.
Oh wow.
And
Okay.
even then, even then, I can't say that that was as stressful as trading has been.
Yeah. 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 I agree. I agree. Straight. I mean, I've worked. I've had my businesses in retail and wholesale, in logistics, in e-commerce, and I can tell you, trading is by far the most difficult thing I have done for sure. Uh,
Hmm.
it really does take its toll, especially when you're struggling as a trader. You're battling so many different things. It really is painful.
Yeah. Would you would you recommend trading to, if someone was to say, should I get a 9 to 5 job or
Hmm.
trade? Like if it was anyone young that's in high school or something, would you recommend trading, or would you say do a 9 to 5 job, just because of your experience and the journey is?
I think the younger you are, the probably the easier it is to learn trading because I think at that stage you're not really knowing the value of money as such. You're young, you are, a certain bit of arrogance in you where you want to conquer the world. and you can treat trading literally as a game. And sometimes that's what it needs. Trading needs to be treated as a game at some stage. So yeah, it's probably easier for them to pick them up, but I think the biggest pitfall there is they really need to realize the value of money, because if they become successful at trading at a young age, I think that value for money and what it means, if it escapes them, I think it could lead to a lot of bigger negatives in life. So I would recommend anyone to first go get a job and slog it out for a year and see what it is and feel what it is to like working £10 an hour jobs and gathering that over 3 months and then trying to buy something from it and the satisfaction and the struggles that come with it. Because if you've not had that and you jump into trading and you become successful, yeah, you'll be getting those Rolexes and Lambos, but along with that, there are other bad things out there which you could get involved in as well. So yeah, I think I would definitely recommend trading, but after a certain amount of time, where the person does realize what value for money is.
I guess it's also when you are younger, you don't have that many responsibilities. So
Correct. Yeah.
it's absolutely okay to kind of do trading. Unfortunately for us, I'm not sure about your age, but we didn't have prop firms and all of these options
No.
when we were growing
No.
up, when we were younger. So I do
Yeah.
feel like it's easy for youngsters to get into this now because
Yeah.
I mean they don't need to run around the stock exchange to put in their order.
No. No.
And
Absolutely.
we have prop firms now, so it kind of helps you, even if you had like $50 as your pocket money, for example, putting that
Yeah.
towards a 5,000 account, it's still
Yeah.
something, and you don't care whether you lose it. It's not dependent
Yeah.
on, you taking care of your family or paying bills. So I think
Yeah.
that relationship is quite good with money at that stage as well.
Yeah.
But I also
Yeah.
find that it is the youngsters that are becoming these um, trading influencers, and
That's right.
they're showing their, Lambos and stuff like that. And I just don't think, personally, any of that is actually a real that's a real picture of trading. And I
No.
don't know how many of them are actually true traders, or they're not, paying for services of copy trading someone else's trades and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Because there's also a lot of services like that out there where you don't necessarily need to know how to trade. You just need to have enough money to copy trade someone else.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally agree. I totally agree. I think my advice to new and aspiring traders is literally the best things are for free. You don't need to pay for courses. You don't need to pay for all these Lambo guys. You will find honest traders out there who are putting the content out there for free. And unfortunately, the only thing is that they reflect reality, which doesn't meet the glamour of these Lambo guys, and so people don't want to follow them.
Mm.
We've been running on this stream for about an hour now. I've been waiting for the last 3 hours to catch a trade, and it seems like it's going to be a no trade day. And I think any new trader might just say, "Oh, what's this guy doing?" and might not want to follow my style. While somebody else on the YouTube is willy-nilly taking trades up and down, and making, maybe not making money. I don't know, but this is what real trading is: waiting for a setup. And I don't think I'm going to get a setup today. And there are very few channels out there like this who show what the reality of trading is.
Very true. For you to sit in front of the screen waiting for an entry is
Yeah,
is a lot of patience, which
it's a
a lot
lot
of
of
people
patience.
don't
Huh? Yeah,
have
absolutely.
nowadays.
I mean, yeah, this is now hitting a no trade day for me because it's taken Asian liquidity on both sides. It's taken the high and the low out, and when it does that, it's a no trade day for me. So this is pretty much the end of my day now. I could have taken an entry up here, But my back test tells me that this taking an entry up here results more times in a loss than it doesn't.
Sure.
And so I'd rather stick to what I know, not take the entry. And we have London Open coming up in the next few minutes, so this very well
Mhm.
might go back up from here. But again, I follow my rules. I'm not going to anticipate or predict what's going to happen. Earlier in my trading career, I would have said, "Oh yeah, it's gone down. London's going to open. Maybe it's going to go back up again," and that maybe doesn't make you a good trader. It makes you a gambler. So yeah, I know we've been on for an hour in this session and we've not been able to catch a trade, but that's the reality of trading. And hopefully we can catch one tomorrow. And if we don't, that's fine. Wednesday is a no trade day, so that's 3 days off for me. That's that's 5 days of no trading, and that's fine. But I know that at the end of the month, when I look back, my account will be in the positive. I'll have
Mhm.
made some money, and
Mhm.
I'll have achieved my objectives, which is what we're here to do as traders: stick to our plan and do the best we can.
So do you look at monthly P&L or
Yeah, I do have an image somewhere. Let me see. I did put it up in my last video. If I have it on, I'll try and bring it up on the screen. Let's see. Does that pop up? No. Okay. Okay, I'm not really sure how to bring that up at this stage, but yeah, it was in my last video where I showed my monthly P&L, and it I've not had a negative month so far since April. April is when I started trading the strategy. I have
Mhm.
a 60% win rate and a 60% gain over the last 5 months. So you know what? I'm happy with that. When a bank will probably give you 3.5, 4% per annum.
very true? That's a good return.
Oh, absolutely. And if like I said, if you have 500K in funded, that's you've already made $300,000. So I don't know how much more you really do want to make. So, thanks, Phoebe, for coming on. It certainly kept the stream interesting as opposed to me just sitting there and waiting for a trade and nothing to do. So
Thank you
appreciate that.
for inviting
And for
me.
all those who are going to watch the stream later on, and I'll put your YouTube link in the description below as well, so they can go and follow you trading NAS. I know you're a skilled trader, and people will only get to learn a lot more by following your channel.
Thank you so much for inviting me,
Thanks,
and
Vivian. And I
and
look
also
forward to doing this again as well.
looking at the comments, seeing Travesty being part of our conversation. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And cool. So thanks everyone for watching, and let's hope we can catch a trade tomorrow. I'll see you around the same time tomorrow live. Thank you, PV, for being on the show, and have a safe and successful day today. Thank you, everyone.